Hey everybody, you should be able to finish up Hinduism here with this last video. Okay, so talking about women, life for women isn't very good. With the exception of Kali and Durga, most of the female gods are pretty much doormats to their male counterparts. Women in Indian society have it pretty rough too. In ancient times, wives were expected to be burned alive on their husband's funeral pyre. So, if the husband died, the woman was expected, if she wanted to show true love to her husband, of as her husband's dead body was burning, she, being alive, was supposed to throw herself onto this funeral pyre and kill herself to truly show her love. And some women, probably be like, no, I ain't going on. Nope, I'm good. And then that she might get shunned by the rest of the community. That's terrible. And even in some of the kind of backwater parts of India, that still happens, but it's not really typically done these days. But still, it's worth mentioning. Now, Hindu worship. Let's move through this quickly. Puja is this name for it. Most homes have shrines where the family prays. They do worship in temples. Um, there's a temple usually in each town devoted to one of the main gods. Um, they ring a bell and they walk in. They place flowers or sweets before the images of the god and say silent prayers. Um, in the countryside, villagers worship at outdoor shrines and pray to local gods or goddesses as guardians of the village. Another form of daily worship is the practice of meditation. A person sits in a special position and concentrates on their breathing, repeating the simple word or phrase like the sacred syllable Om, and they grow quiet, calm, alert. This, of course, is yoga. This is a type of exercise involving physical positions and breathing. It's obviously good for health, but it teaches more prominently, it teaches self control, which is necessary for a spiritual life. So, now, one of the interesting little things that they have, traditions they have, is like the Jewish bar mitzvah. Hindu boys have this kind of special ceremony welcoming them into religious life, and this is called the sacred thread ceremony. And so it's only allowed for the top three castes, and there's no similar ritual for girls. Um, the symbol, the ceremony takes place usually the day before, or maybe even on that boy's wedding day. A guru or a teacher hangs a sacred thread over the boy's left shoulder and under his right arm, and then then on, the boy will wear the thread and be called twice born or born again. Right? We It's interesting. I love to see all the connections across the different religions. Here we have a sense of what it means to be born again into religious life. Um, so the festivals, those are super fun. My favorite, of course, is Holi. This celebrates the end of winter. Participants throw colored water and powders on one another, and on this day, license is given for for the usual rankings of caste, gender, status to be reversed, and it's super fun. Like everybody is one people on Holi. That's super fun. Um, Diwali is it closes out the Hindu year and begins a new one. It's called the Festival of Lights. As the night falls, Hindus light every possible light that they can to frighten away demons and to welcome the return of the god Rama, who's one of the avatars of Vishnu and who's been forced to free his kingdom. Now, it's so cool that they always take pictures from space of India on Diwali because they want to see um, if they make a difference. Now, above me is a you'll see two different pictures of India. Now, the one that got circulated is the one on as you're looking at it on the right, the one I think I'm pointing to, and it's super bright. But I guess this has been doctored. The real Diwali would have been on the left there, and but I think it's kind of cool. So they always try to see if they can be brighter than the year before. It's super cool. Okay. Lastly, you have the Vedas. This is a huge collection of sacred Hindu writings. that bind together all of those groups of Hindus. The Vedas are the oldest of their writings. It means books of knowledge. It was written more than 3,000 years ago and filled with wisdom about the universe. One thought that I got from the Vedas that I thought was super powerful, actually. Um, they said that all religions are true and that they all lead to the same goal through different paths. That's pretty progressive for 3,000 years ago. So I thought that was pretty insightful and true. And lastly, the Vedas also talked about conditioned soul versus the liberated soul. This is kind of like conditioned soul would be if you're stuck with sin necessarily, and then liberated soul would be free, of course. The four defects of the conditioned soul: mistakes, the things that we do that hold us up; being illusioned, when we identify ourselves with our body and forget the spirit; propensity to cheat. I don't know what else there is to explain there. And the imperfect senses. If we trust the things that we are perceiving in the world, our eyes, our ears, more than we can we always trust them? And the answer, of course, is no there. So to acquire full knowledge in this life is impossible, the Hindus believe, and the Vedas teach. What we are trying to do is prepare knowledge for the life beyond. Now, the one concern that I have in regards to Hinduism is the fact that with reincarnation, I know a lot of people like to say they believe in that and they like to keep going. But I think the thing that bothers me is the idea that, um, the thing that I never want is Alzheimer's disease. Because I believe that I've spent so much of my life um, being acquiring knowledge, working hard to establish relationships in my life, and sometimes having to struggle with that, right? And I've learned a lot, and who I am is all those things. And I feel like the most tragic thing would be Alzheimer's, where you lose that, right? You lose who you are in the relationships that matter most. So now, if you take that and you translate that to like an afterlife situation, this is what Hinduism and reincarnation is all about, that you die and you lose everything that you struggled to achieve as far as a real person. As a Christian, I'm gonna, I believe that I'll die and then I will make it to heaven, and I will still be me. I will still be myself, and all the things that I've learned, and all of the characteristics I have, and all of the relationships that I've acquired, and have made me who I am. Right? In Hindu, in this whole concept of reincarnation, you constantly lose that. And I find that to be tragic. And so Hinduism is maybe not for me, right? Because I believe the individual is important. But as far as moving up and down that caste ladder, up and down that reincarnation cycle, um, that's a big part of this. So hopefully you enjoyed Hinduism.